Hi there, I'm Kate McClellan, and I've been a professional wedding planner for over 20 years now. I started Planning Collective when I noticed that though most couples are super excited about getting engaged, they quickly feel overwhelmed and intimidated by the actual process of planning their weddings. If left unchecked, this can lead to massive burnout and the urge to scrap all your plans and just elope. While this is totally normal, you don't have to sacrifice your sanity for your dream wedding. In the Wedding Planning Collective podcast, I'm going to share the processes, tips, and tools that all engaged couples like you need to feel confident, supported, and excited about your wedding plans again. Let's get started. Hey there, before we get to the episode, I have a quick question for you. Have you been unsuccessfully trying to shake that feeling that you're forgetting something when it comes to your wedding? You've got the Knot app and you've downloaded countless other planning checklists, but you just can't get rid of that sneaking suspicion that there's something you don't know yet. It's a very common feeling when it comes to wedding planning. So much so that I decided to put together a free resource to help get rid of what I call FOWO, the fear of wedding oversight. Yes, it does include that 12-month task checklist, but that's just the start. In addition to the ultimate wedding planning checklist, my new Don't Forget list also includes a wedding vendor checklist, your shopping list, a packing list for the wedding weekend, and a complete wedding item setup list to make sure that you are truly not forgetting anything when it comes to your wedding. And you heard me right, this list is free for you to grab right now. Just head over to planningcollective.com/forgetting and it's all yours. That's planningcollective.com/FORGETTING, and let's get rid of that FOWO together. All right, let's get on to the episode. Hey guys, Kate here. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Planning Collective podcast. Before we dive into today's budget reality check, I have to say it feels pretty good to be back. The podcast took a little bit of a break during wedding season while I was busy helping other couples down the aisle and working behind the scenes on something big for you. The Planning Collective membership is getting a major revamp, a little bit of a new look, smoother navigation to make it much easier to plan your wedding, and even more tools to make planning far less stressful. It officially launches October 1st, so next week. And of course, I will be sharing all of the details here with you first. So today's episode is a perfect reset. We're going to get your wedding budget back on track, so you're ready to dive into the new membership next week with total confidence. When we talk about wedding budgets, they can get a bad reputation for being restrictive or causing a lot of stress. But the reality is that they can actually give you a lot of freedom when you know where your money is going and where you still have flexibility. Not unlike doing a household budget, right? So let's dive into a quick reality check when it comes to your budget to make sure that you're in a good spot before you continue on with your planning. First, let's talk about why budgets go off track in the first place, because it happens to just about everybody. First, there's optimism bias, and that is when you believe you can pull something off, like planning a wedding of your dreams for less than it will actually cost. It's totally normal to underestimate in those early numbers, especially if you've never planned a wedding before, which is most brides and grooms. Then there are the surprise line items, the delivery fees, setup fees, service charges, taxes, gratuities. They're not glamorous, but they certainly add up very quickly. Next up, scope creep will creep up on you. You start with a plan and then suddenly you're upgrading linens, adding signature cocktails, or splurging on the live band instead of the DJ because it's your one wedding you're going to get. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Well, one or two $3 per guest or $200 package upgrades, those are likely not going to break the bank. But when it happens multiple times, that's when it can really start to get out of hand. And then, of course, there is the guest list. Whether it's your fault or your parents', that little number tends to grow and grow and grow. And that can really take your wedding budget and blow things up. And finally, couples often think that the budget is something you do once and then you're done with it. And while the idea of that might be true, it's just like your household budget. Yes, you do it once, and then most of the year, you're probably sticking to a similar budget, but you need to revisit it, right? You need to make sure that you're staying on top of it. Just because you wrote down the budget doesn't mean that's what you're actually spending. So the same goes with wedding planning. A lot of couples will do their budget in the initial stages of planning their wedding, and then it's gone. They don't think about it again, or maybe they're updating things, but they're not looking down at that total sum at the bottom line there. So you want to make sure that you're having checkpoints as you are going through the planning process. So if you've fallen into any of these traps, don't stress about it. All is not lost. Let's talk about a 5-step mini action plan that can get you back on track. Step 1, we're going to compare your plan to the actual spend. Open up your budget tracker, however you're tracking your expenses, and plug in what you've actually spent so far. And don't just look at the totals, check each category. You might be under in some areas and over in others, and that's okay. While you're doing this, make sure that that actual count is truly reflecting what you are looking to spend. One thing I've seen a lot of couples forget to do is they put in the initial quote once they get that from a vendor, once they book a vendor, but then they forget to update it when they decided to add in the late night snack, or they upgraded their linens at their venue. And so the budget might look like it's okay because you forgot to add in those little upgrades. Make sure that you're being honest with yourself and your budget as you're looking through these numbers. I know it can be tempting to think that, well, our hair and makeup isn't really going to count in our budget, or the upgraded linens, we're paying for those, so we're not putting that in the budget. Well, there might be different contributors or different reasons why you might not want to include something in the budget. Be honest with yourself and with your budget and track it all in one spot. Step number 2 is revisiting your priorities. Take a minute with your partner on a regular basis to not only review the budget, but make sure you're still on the same page with what matters most to the two of you. It's not uncommon for priorities to shift. Maybe you care more about food and less about florals once you booked your venue, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you picked a venue that has amazing food, but really needs some help with the florals, right? So you've got to reallocate some of your budget from one category to the other. Making sure that you're checking in together regularly on your priorities and your budget, I recommend on a monthly basis, is usually a good way to make sure that you're staying on track and not losing sight of either your budget or your priorities. Step number 3, regardless of where you are in your checkpoint, make sure that you're getting quotes for your remaining vendors that you will need to book. Even if you're not ready to book them just yet, this helps you get real numbers so you're not estimating anymore. This is really helpful for the categories that I call the wish list categories. So let's say you really want to have a videographer involved in the wedding. You want to hire a videographer, but you need to wait and see what your menu choices are going to look like or what your bar bill is going to look like before you can commit to hiring a videographer. Go ahead and reach out to a couple videographers that you'd love to hire, find out what their actual price point is so you have a realistic number and it's not just an estimate at this point. That way you know the specific dollar amount that you're trying to work into the budget or that you need to save to make that happen. Even if you're not fully ready to book yet, it is so helpful to have a realistic number to help give you a clearer picture. Step number 4, adjust where needed. This is where the magic happens. Like I said, your budget is not done once and then you forget about it. You're going to be moving things around. You can trim categories that aren't as important to you anymore, or maybe you don't need certain things because of the venue you booked. When you do these monthly check-ins, it helps you keep track of that. So initially, maybe you have budgeted a few $1,000s for chair and table rental or linen rentals, and then you ended up locking in a venue that has all of that for you. This is the point where you can reallocate that into another area that is a priority for you. So it's not always a negative thing. Sometimes when you're revisiting your budget, you find things that you had allocated funds for that you no longer need or that you can put towards something else. So keeping track of your budget can definitely lead to some fun surprises as well. And step number 5, just like we talk about with your timeline, we want to add some padding or some buffer in there, right? If you haven't already, make sure that you have 5 to 10% of your overall budget set aside for miscellaneous or buffer. Something will pop up, something unexpected will need to be booked. It always does. And so when you plan ahead, you will be secure in making those decisions. If you're in a more traditional venue like a hotel or a banquet hall, 5% for miscellaneous funds should be plenty. If you're planning a backyard wedding, or if you're in a venue where you have to bring in catering and a lot of the other supplies, I recommend you go closer to 10% for that miscellaneous fund. So if you feel like you've lost a little bit of control of your budget, don't stress. So many couples feel the same way. Use these 5 steps to get back on track, and then make sure that budget reviews are a recurring part of your planning. Once a month, or maybe after every big decision or purchase. That little habit can really help save thousands of dollars and a whole lot of stress. And if you are listening to this and thinking, yep, that's me, we have no idea where we stand with our budget right now, don't stress out because I've got you. Inside the Planning Collective membership, we have a full budgeting lesson and a whole bunch of tools to help you stay on track. It's all in the current version of the Planning Collective membership. And if you join now, you will be the first to see the shiny new version in the next week. I would love to hear what you discover when you do your budget check-in this week. Send me a DM over on Instagram at Planning Collectively and let me know what your big win was. And don't forget to tune in next week. We'll be celebrating the launch of the new Planning Collective membership. And if you found this budget reality check-in helpful, please take a second to rate and review this episode. It would mean the world to me, and it will help other couples find the planning help they need. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next episode.